We are back with you live once again on another Johnny Torch live broadcast. Broadcast number 231 today. It's been a while. I meant to do a broadcast this weekend, as you may have known on Twitter. I kind of postponed it on account of football. Yeah, the division playoffs, right? Yeah, had to watch them, and that's why we didn't have a Saturday show. Unfortunately, there really isn't much news to talk about. I mean, we're going to get to some of that here during this show because it's kind of like not something I can build a show around, these topics, but it'll give me something to jaw about while we're watching me attempt to color another page of Bullets Bourbon number 8, Temptation Eyes. And a lot to get to. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, just random stream of consciousness stuff like I usually do when I'm doing a live stream on an art stream, I guess. But first, this is the big moment here. We're going to reveal the cover. And it was a Dickens to produce this cover. It was a deuce of a cover to produce. The background, it gave me just fits. But I changed the background, altered it as much as I could to my satisfaction. So I think it's probably ready. It's not going to change much after this reveal, obviously. I might tweak it a little more, but I think this is probably going to be basically the final product. And so, okay, without further ado, let us reveal the cover for Bullets Bourbon number 8, Temptation Eyes. Now, you may have seen it if you are following me on Gab, because now I'm on Gab. And we'll talk about that in a few moments, too. But first off, here we go. I don't have a drum roll effect here. I probably should have got a drum roll effect ready, but here we go. The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye, Casebook number 8, The Family Jewels, Act 2, Temptation Eyes. And this is taking place, again, another thing was I wasn't sure I wanted to really introduce this too early because I wanted people to be able to read the original, the first chapter in The Family Jewels. But I think whoever was going to read that has read it by now. So we find Bullets Bourbon and Veronica in Adam Apple's speakeasy, and Bullets Bourbon is in disguise. This is his underworld character disguise, and he is apparently contemplating a pool game with Tom Ado, the consigliere of Don Parsnip Top, Carrot Top's father. And the thing that was driving me the most crazy was trying to get that neon arch in the background to... If you remember the pinup that I showed of Veronica in Adam Apple's speakeasy, it's the arch behind her was just barely visible. And it was easier to use that effect. But the neon doesn't show up as well for some reason with purple. Now, you can see the neon trim for the green floorboard there up against the wall, on the back wall. But, I don't know, the purple archway, it just gave me headaches trying to get it as good as possible. And again, I might tweak it a little bit, but that's about as good as I'm going to be able to get it. So I figured let's release the cover now. We are only, what am I on? Page 8, I think, of coloring this 22-page adventure. So unfortunately, it's still going to come in probably in the spring. Hopefully not any later than May, but again, who knows? I can't predict these things. All right, let's get a little closer look here. I'd like to get a little closer look at the main characters. There's Bullets. He's got the shades. Bullets wears his sunglasses at night in this episode. And as you know, if you've read Bullets Bourbon, he is a champion class pool player. He's not a professional player by any means, but a championship caliber. And so when he picks up the pool cue, he means business. And the pool cues are not easy to draw. I can see, every time I draw them, I can see 1,000 mistakes. But eventually, you just got to let it go and do it to the best of your ability. Of course, the first cover, if you remember, had Bullets and Veronica handcuffed. Here it looks like they're unhandcuffed, but you'll have to see the story to see how that plays out. This is not. This cover is not really an indication of what's going on between them at that time in the story, but for example, they weren't handcuffed together while he's wearing his regular uniform. And now that they are, he is in his disguise, now they aren't handcuffed. It's kind of the opposite, but it's one of those things where you have to try to convey an idea more than just going slavishly for what is depicted in the book. So I kind of wrestled with that a little bit. Did I want to, show that? But, again, you kind of have to make that statement and say this is kind of where the characters are, not necessarily what's reflected in the story, other than just this is just what they're going through, in other words. All right, so let's see. Check this out. Make sure you check out our website. The link is in the description below. You can find The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye. All of our previous issues are there. I would really love you guys to check out the remasters. They are the ones to look at. Let's take a look. You can take a look at my website. That's the preferred method. Let's see. I've got so many tabs open. This will take me forever to get through. Let's see. Maybe not forever. But let's see. This is my website. If you will click in the link in the description below, you can check out The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye. This is the latest issue, The Family Jewels, where Carrot Top goes back to his father, Don Parsnip Top, who is the head of the Vegetable Garden Gang. As you can see on the left, those are the members. And he's going up against Adam Apple, as you can see on the right, at the top of that column on the right, the leader of the Fruit Salad Mob, and his crafty and devious son, Corey Apple, is there below him. A lot of these characters have names. We'll probably talk about that too, but I don't ever reference them in the books, in these issues, because they're really just foot soldiers. You know what I mean? Most of these characters don't have names. But that could change in the future episodes. Who knows? We might spotlight one of these side capos or something. I don't know. All right, so make sure you check this out, this website, for all your Bullets Bourbon needs. Here you go. You track down a little bit below the cover, and you will see the options open to you for the issues. PayPal, of course, we take just about anything. Bullets Bourbon #1, It's Always Something. Bullets Bourbon #2, Knock on Wood. Bullets Bourbon #3, When the Night Comes. And now Bullets Bourbon issue #7, The Family Jewels. Trying to remember off the top of my head. Let's see. Bullets Bourbon #1. Oh, I think I probably got the prices down here. Let's just roll down a little more. Yep. Bullets Bourbon, the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles, which is the remaster, because of course I kind of go by that old saying, don't leave money on the table. So, that's kind of a comic skate staple, I guess. But, if you want some of the more rustic looking versions of the book, I'm still leaving them available for you on Indie Planet, and we'll take a look at that in a second as well. And the reason is hey, if you want it, I'm not gonna prevent you from buying it. So I'm gonna leave those open for the foreseeable future. I was making a big deal that I was gonna take them off the website, but like I said, if anybody wants them, the few people that want them, I'll make them available to you. I'll take your money. I won't complain. With the Chronicles, though, those are the ones I'm really pushing. They're a little bit more expensive, but they are remastered with just beautiful coloring. I just went all out to make sure that they were colored properly, recoloring issues 2, 3, and 4, and recoloring issue #1, which was originally hand colored. And then we re-lettered issues 1, 2, 3, and 4 as well. and we put them all together in one collection. The first issue is reprinted basically only as a first issue, so there's no other new material other than we redid one of the pinups because I lost the original material for the Bullets Bourbon pinup and the Carrot Top pinup. Both of them actually I had to redo. And we also throw in 3 pages of a afterword. I like doing those. It's kind of like the DVD commentary, so to speak, where you can get a little bit of a behind-the-scenes glimpse of what I was thinking when I was putting together the stories, or maybe something that helped come up with a character that's in the issue. That is 32 pages for only $7. Next, the 40-page epic that introduced an unsuspecting world to the dangerous pencil neck, knock on wood. That is 40 pages for $8. Again, this is just crazy. I'm not making any money off this, but hey, I am trying to put entertainment into your well-deserved hands. And of course, the extravaganza that teamed up Carrot Top and Pencil Neck together for the first time. When the Night Comes, one of my favorite stories, a 60-pager for only 10 buckaroos. You know, you probably, what is the going price for an indie comic? For an 80-page book, you'll get, it'll cost you like 25 bucks. This is coming in under that, and you still have enough money there where it's worth the price. It's not, I'm not trying to, gouge my my fans by any means. And of course, the Family Jewels, the first chapter of the Family Jewels arc, which is now underway in the Bullets Bourbon saga, for only $5. That is a steal. Once again, you get the 2 pinups. You get the beautiful Veronica pinup, which I'm very proud of. Parsnip Top gets a pinup as well. And of course, you can also check out on Indie Planet. Let's take a look at that. Indie Planet, you look under Johnnie Torch, and you will find they finally listed them. It took them quite a while. I stopped checking in since the first of the year, so I don't know when they started listing these, because I was just about to complain, because, man, the books were printed, 3 months ago now, and it feels like it's taking forever. But they've listed them, so if you don't want to go through my website, you can actually get them. And like I said, I know a lot of people are they're dubious as to giving their personal information, their address, their info to a stranger. So they want to go through a third-party business, third-party affiliate. That's fine. I don't feel slighted in the least. I've tried to make it a little cheaper going through my website. That's the only thing. And like I said before, I'll try to throw in a couple of knickknacks, goodies, a sticker, and so forth. Let's see, the price for getting it here on Indie Planet. Let's take a look at, let's see, $7.99 for the print on demand, whereas I'm selling it for $5 with a $2 shipping and handling. So you're getting it for, the shipping on Indie Planet, I think, is probably about $6. So again, you're saving a lot that way. The digital download is $5.49. I've gone back and forth on what to do with digital downloads. I've said many times I'm not a big fan of offering my books on digital, but again, I let the market decide. I mean, I've sold a couple digital. It's not really, wildly popular for my books. And I think that comics really are better. Maybe it's just my feeling, or maybe it's just my book, but I feel like it's better served as a physical copy. But I am going to allow the digital downloads. I kind of upped the price on the digital downloads for that reason. I was doing them very cheaply, and I think you could probably still find the early issues very cheap, but I kind of feel like it's probably comparable to make it only a couple dollars cheaper, because, quite honestly, you're getting the same product just because you don't have to store it in a closet or on a shelf or something, you're still getting the same product. So I don't really know the benefit of sort of keeping it cheaper than the book. But I try to. I figure, well, it's not a physical copy, so I got to make it a little cheaper, right? So we made it a little cheaper. All right, and so of course then we got the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles #1. I'm not going to go through all the prices of all of them, but you could just take a look at them here just so you know what the covers look like. Bullets Bourbon Chronicles #2, that's what we call the remasters. I want you to check them out ASAP. And of course, Bullets Bourbon #3, the Bullets Bourbon Chronicles When the Night Comes. That is the amazing team up between Carrot Top Pencil Neck. And of course, let's not forget Sour Note. As I said, you can get the individual issues here as well. The Chronicles also come with the cover art as pinups in the inside covers of the book, so you don't lose out on any of that. So yeah, check it out. Be the first on your block to own the Bullets Bourbon saga. And let's get back to some coloring here now. Let's see. I want to thank everybody who has subbed recently. We've got a few new subs. We're at 162 subs now. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as I said before, we've got some new info. I'm now joining Gab because I honestly am not a fan of Twitter. I really don't want to be on Twitter anymore. And I'm looking for new places to go that will be more friendly to conservatives, more friendly to free speech, and I'm hoping to find it on Gab, although it's not the easiest place to use, I guess. It's not that user-friendly yet because there's a lot of traffic and they're trying to rebuild and update their servers or whatever. So I've gotten a lot of suggestions that I should join Minds. And I suppose Minds is comparable to Twitter as well. Wait a second here. This is the round table sort of scene where the Vegetable Garden gang got together in the last issue. So this is a preview page on my website. So if you want to check it out, you can see the whole, surrounding of this panel. I'm not going to try to hide the dialogue on this panel when I go back and forth because it's already up as a preview. And I'm using this page as sort of a reference to pull the colors for the page that I'm actually working on now. So we're working on, this is interesting because these characters, as I said, they don't really have a name. Oh, let me finish the last thought, I guess, before I move on. But yeah, I do have a Minds account now, and I'm going to see how I feel about that more favorably than Gab. Because, like I said, I feel eventually I'm going to leave Twitter. And I don't like the way they treated President Trump. I don't like the way they treat conservatives. It's just a way too politically toxic environment, not to use sort of a cliche leftist type description of it. But I'm not happy with it there. And it's difficult because, I really want to stay in touch with the folks I know there, the folks I like, and I don't really want to leave them behind, but I have a very strong feeling that not many of them are going to make the jump to a different social media network. But, my whole thing has always been to thine own self be true. And if I don't feel comfortable there anymore, I might just jump ship. Of course, it's going to depend on, just how easy it is to use these new programs, these whether it's Gab or whether it's Minds. It's going to depend on maybe the popularity of those platforms, if they're not that popular and I don't get my book in front of too many eyes, I might just leave it. That's the real main thing, right? You want to use social media, or at least if you're in a case like I am, you want to use it to get more eyes on your project. And that's ever been the case with me for Bullets Bourbon. I want people to see what I'm doing. Hopefully they'll get excited about what's going on in the Bullets Bourbon universe and want to take a look, want to check it out. But unfortunately, as of now, I'm still on Twitter, and hopefully, just hopefully, mind you, I will be satisfied with one of these platforms, and we can meet together on one of them. Yeah, see, this book, the coloring of this book is a very long and arduous process because of things like this. I've got so many new characters, and they are very colorful. They're not just like, for instance, when I was doing the villains in any of the books. I was going to say in When the Night Comes, we had thugs, that were just dressed in light green suits with orange helmets. And then, when you look back at the first issue, they were wearing purple. The villains were wearing purple waiters' outfits. They were Carrot Top's valets. And then you had, in the second storyline, we had pencil neck goons, basically just dressed in black suits. But for this book, we're pulling out all the stops. I've got more intricate backgrounds, more detailed backgrounds. I've got all the villains wearing different color clothing. They got suits of their own. They're very stylized. And the characters themselves are not just normal humans, normal flesh and blood, flesh tone characters that I can just color with one or two different variations. These characters all have to be detailed, painstakingly so. And it is driving me nuts because I really want to get this book out. I want everybody to see it ASAP. And I really can't do that with this. I can't just crank it out. I have to slowly but surely make sure I dot all the T's and cross all the I's, or vice versa. And, yep, there's some interesting characters here that are working for Parsnip Top and his band of fruit salad. Oh, no, the vegetable garden gangsters. How could I dare get them confused? This is Art the Choker. That's his name. He's sort of one of the enforcers of the vegetable garden gang. I kind of compare him to, or sort of the inspiration for him was Luca Brasi. He's sort of the guy that's very quiet, doesn't really have a lot of brains, but he goes in there and gets the job done. He was sort of the inspiration for this character. Another inspiration for this character was Ram Man from Masters of the Universe. See, that's one of the great things about when you're creating your own world, you can take inspiration from multiple places. And a lot of people probably wouldn't even realize that's where you're taking it from. Maybe people would have made a connection because he sort of headbutts people. But yeah, the idea is basically, because he's an artichoke. He's basically got an artichoke for a head, and they're kind of hard. Artichokes have pointy little stems and stuff. So that is his main source of attack, his main focus of attack. But he also, like I said, he's sort of like a gruff guy. He'll choke somebody out very easily. And I have a lot of villains here that were sort of inspired by different things. Let's take a look at a couple of them here in a sec, as I get these leaves finished. And again, I'll probably go over this several times to see if it's to my specifications. But let's see. Over here, oops, okay. Over here, you could see we've got Sam the Celery Stalker. or Sam the Stalker, Celery. The idea for this character, I was sort of influenced from him by George Raft. I kind of thought he looked like George Raft, Sam the Stalker, Celery. Or maybe Sam the Celery Stalker is better. I don't know. But sort of kind of, a posh looking guy. He's got, a little cigar there, and he's dressed with a bow tie. Not many of the guys have got bow ties on. The guy next to him here with the purple suit is Cabbage Calloway. Uh, another sort of homage to Cab Calloway, as long as the name is considered, anyway. And Asparagus up here, Asparagus. I like his hair, so to speak. It's like dreadnoughts. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting sort of thing, and it's kind of like it gives him sort of a Jamaican flavor. I think if he ever spoke, he probably speaks with like a Jamaican accent, because he's sort of got like dreadlocks up there. Let's see, Nick Broccoli. I couldn't. I don't know. I mean, I gave him like this flashy red scarf, which I guess I kind of see him as being kind of flamboyant. It's like he kind of prides himself on killing people with style. He's not just there to do the job. He's there to do the job with style. And so that's some of the illustrious characters you're going to meet in this upcoming episode. I had to color his mouth leaf here a little bit of a different color, because people wouldn't know that that's his mouth. I mean, I try to do a darker outline for his mouth so that people know that's his mouth. But that's kind of the interesting thing you can do too, is you do different shapes. Like mouths are not usually triangular, but I get to do a triangular here, and it works out really well. So let's see. He's got sort of the vegetable garden gang. I tried to give them, and the fruit salad mob as well, I tried to give their suits somewhat muted colors, though. I didn't want them to be too flashy. I got some of them are wearing purplish, some of them are wearing like gold, kind of a tan or something, as in this case. But I wanted there to be a real difference in style from the old generation and the new generation. Like I was talking about Nick Broccoli's red scarf. He's the only one that sort of looks a little out of place with his peers. But for instance, Carrot Top, he wears a flashy neon green suit. He's, ostentatious and kind of wants to be seen, unlike several of the other characters that are surrounding him, because it's sort of an age thing. It's like these guys are old school, they're old timers. They don't really go in for the flashiness. If anything, they'll wear a bow tie or something will show that they're being fashionable or something, but they're not going to wear neon colors. For instance, Corey Apple, who is the son of Adam Apple, the other Don in the story, he wears a neon green suit too. It's very interesting, because I don't think I did that on purpose, that he was in a dress like Carrot Top, but he also has that kind of flashiness too. And it's very interesting to try to, pick out what's going to make these guys stand out, and what their fashion sense is. All right, so this was also time consuming the first time, because I had to pick out all the colors for these characters. So it's a little bit easier, where now I just have to pull up the colors that I've already chosen. Because imagine trying to say, well, what's the color of a broccoli stem? Well, I got to figure that out. We go up and down the color scale until finally I found something that's comparable. Whenever I do an art stream, of course, I can't look up at the comments. So if I am not looking at the comments, if anybody's in the comments, which usually I don't get comments in an art stream, Apologies, because I can't keep an eye on that at the same time. All right, so let's see. One of the things I get concerned about is the stylus might make noise against the screen while I'm doing this. So again, if that is happening again, I'll apologize and try not to do it next time. The reason why that makes that noise is I've got the stylus that comes with the computer. It doesn't have a rubber tip like the other stylus I have. So when my battery's dead on the other styluses, I just got this one to work with because it's sort of a self charging stylus. All right, so speaking of what has been going on lately here, oh man, I don't want to talk politics. That's just too depressing. So let's talk about something else. The last video I did was about Cobra Kai. Still very excited about that. I'm kind of disappointed. There were a few things I wanted to talk about Cobra Kai that I just didn't get around to. But like, for instance, one of my favorite scenes was the soccer scene. That was so great. That was awesome. I love that song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs by the Moody Blues, Like a Rock. And that was in the famous, one of the greatest scenes in cinema as far as I'm concerned, the ice chopping scene where Daniel has to chop the 6 blocks of ice. And they took that and it perfectly, seamlessly works in that scene where they're taking down the Cobra Kai in the soccer match. That was really cool. I was really impressed with the way they did that because again, this is sort of the season where they're doing the Karate Kids Part 2. So it's like I imagine more of that is going to happen for Part 3. A lot of people are saying they're going to do something about the next Karate Kid. Now, honestly, and I've seen it once. If you watched my retrospective about the Karate Kid saga, I didn't have much to say about that because I saw it once and I remember thinking, it's sort of all right. I mean, it's one of those things like it does no harm, but it really adds nothing to the Karate Kid legacy. So it's why, I don't really feel like they need to go there and introduce Julie and all the other characters that were in that into the Cobra Kai series. But I'm willing to listen. What do you think? Do you think that they should? It's still the same universe. It's one of those things. It's in canon because Mr. Miyagi's in it, and obviously, I guess they have to call it in canon. I mean, they could just ignore it because obviously Mr. Miyagi's not in these episodes. He's not in the show because, unfortunately, Pat Morita has passed. So, oops, there's some dialogue. You got a little glimpse. So I don't think they need to. Alrighty. Yeah, let's see, what else? I honestly don't remember what else I was going to say about that. But I really love the show. I think it's one of the greatest shows out there right now. And I really, really hope that it goes further and further. From what I hear, they're going to do multiple seasons. That's why they wanted to get on Netflix. Because not only did they want next season, season 4, they want multiple seasons. Now, I heard Christian Harloff say, I was watching his review, and he was saying that he heard, again, this is just all speculative, that they want to do 6 seasons. And I mean, I know, I was listening to like Angry Joe, and he was saying, oh, you don't want to milk it dry. You kind of want the show to go out on top, not milk it for all it's worth. But at the same time, I'd like them to go as far as they can, reasonably go. I mean, there's no reason that they should have to stop if they got more stuff to pull from. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, let's say they've tapped out all the Karate Kid Part 2 characters. Let's say they tap out the Karate Kid Part 3. Let's say maybe they even go to the next Karate Kid or whatever, and they use whatever storylines they could use from that. They still have new characters. I mean, they could do stuff conceivably like other shows do, where they just continually bring in new characters, bring in new conflicts. They don't really have to stop with, finishing up whatever is left to be eulogized from the original series. I mean, that's kind of what I think makes it successful. That they take storylines and say, well, whatever happened to Allie, whatever happened to Chosen, whatever happened to Kumiko. And that's one of the reasons why it's successful. It's not, like I said in the review, it's not like the Star Wars sequel trilogy where they are like, well, you really shouldn't care about what happens to Luke Skywalker and all those characters because they're old and they don't really have any stories to tell anymore, and it's a new generation, and they're only supposed to be there to support the new generation. That's not the way the Cobra Kai treats its Karate Kid legacy. They treat it as, yes, we're continuing to tell the story of Daniel, we're continuing to tell the story of Johnnie, we're continuing to tell the story of Chosen, and Chosen, I meant Kreese, but you know what I mean. Basically, they are continuing what started in that franchise. And, that's admirable. That's something that you want to do. You don't want to be continually throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So, see how long we've been going here. About a half hour or so. Yeah, we can go a little further. So, again, some of the subjects that I was going to talk about if we were doing a show on Saturday, but there really isn't a show to, enough stuff to take on a show. Apparently, Chris Evans wants to come back as Captain America, and this just does not shock me in the least. He's been talking all along, and that's the reason why they didn't kill him off. He's been talking all along about how I think he just needed a vacation, in other words. He needed a break. Because every single time they asked him, he was like, oh, I love Marvel. I love working in the MCU. I love Captain America. I love my co-stars. But, oh, this is so much work. And, oh, it's all I'm doing. And I want to stop. And it's time for me to direct. And I don't know. All that stuff was going on. And I kind of just felt like he needed a break. Doing Captain America for 9 months every other year or something, maybe was what he was doing. And he kind of just needed, I don't know, a year off or something. So now he's had that. He's had some time, right? Since, what's the last one? Endgame. That was a crock. But, he's had some time off. Maybe now he's ready to rejoin the MCU. I don't know. But there is more to the story. Apparently, he took to Twitter and said, this is the first I'm hearing of it. So all these speculative reports about he's going to come back, well, Evans just denied it. So now what do? You know how these things go, though. They say, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm not under contract. We're not having those negotiations. And then, 2 months later, you'll find out it's done deal all that time. So I don't know. Whoops, wrong color. There we go. I still have not seen WandaVision, so no spoilers for anybody who has. But looking to see that probably next month. I still got my Netflix subscription for this month, and so I'm going to make use of it by watching. I never saw the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last season, the final season, because I was patient. I said, well, I'm going to wait until Cobra Kai comes out. So instead of just watching Cobra Kai and then just letting that subscription lapse, I'll watch both and I'll get my money's worth. So I'm in the middle of it now. I think I'm on the 4th episode, which is not really the middle, I suppose, but you know what I mean. What the heck happened there? Try this again. Let's see. But no spoilers there either because I just started, but I'm sure pretty much everybody's seen it by now. So I will say it looks to be a time-traveling saga this season, or last season, or that season, whatever you want to refer to it as. And that's quite entertaining because I could tell they're pulling from some uh, Agent Carter storylines. They're bringing some of those characters back, apparently, or at least one from what I've seen so far. So that's fun because I liked the Peggy Carter show. I was hoping that was going to last for a few seasons. They left us on a cliffhanger with Agent Thompson, so I'm kind of hoping they're going to resolve that. Although, let's just say I won't hold my breath. But here's hoping, because otherwise I'll never know what happened to Agent Thompson. Well, none of us will, right? Nobody will know. It will go down as an unsolved mystery. Okay, let's see. Oh, Mr. White Gloves is here. And let's see, because I can't take a look at the comments too often because I'm working on the page. So let's take a look at some of the comments he said. That wouldn't be bad if he came back. We're talking about Chris Evans' Captain America, I imagine. But I don't think he will. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel about it too. I mean, I really don't like them moving on from those original characters, to be honest with you. I mean, they really are on their B team now, and they probably will be on their C team pretty soon once some of these other characters like the Guardians and once their contracts for their 3-picture deals are up, I don't know really what they have to fall back on except for like the C list. I mean, Doctor Strange might get another movie. Then we get, what I mean? I don't know if we're going to get like Black Widow getting a sequel. They might just be stuck with sort of the C-listers, which would be like Shang-Chi. And now we're going to have a Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman, which is another, sad reality. But I don't really know if that's enough to keep the MCU going in perpetuity the way we kind of hoped it would, because they obviously are not going to recast these actors. So, yeah, it would be nice to see that happen. All right, I'm going to start to wrap things up here pretty soon with this page. And let's see. Oh, what was the other bit of news I was going to talk about? I think Superman and Lois, the television series, I'm hearing that's going to be an 1.5-hour show now. They are going to... I don't think they did that with any other CW show, right? They're always just hour programs, without the commercials. It's considerably shorter. It's like 48 minutes or something like that. I don't know. Let's say an hour for the sake of argument. So Superman and Lois is going to be an 1.5 hours, 90 minutes with commercials. And I'm pretty sure they said also that The Flash is getting moved down a week, the new season of The Flash. And I think in order to facilitate this 90-minute episode of Superman and Lois, which, the way I feel about it, I think that's a good thing because, quite honestly, Superman is the gold standard of superheroes. He and Batman, if you're talking about DC characters, they're the ones, probably Wonder Woman as well, they're the ones that deserve the the big treatment. You know what I mean? They deserve the gold star treatment. So if they want to get this show off on the good foot, maybe they want to do something like that. They want to put them in the spotlight and say, Superman's a big deal, watch this show. Because what they have left now to them, The Flash is about all they have for an A-lister. We're talking about A-listers and B-listers and stuff. Superman is the A-lister, and The Flash is the only other A-lister. Supergirl's going to be going off the air. I wouldn't have said that she was a A-lister, but she's going off anyway. So is, let's see, Black Lightning's ending this year. He also not an A-lister, really. Legends of Tomorrow are basically C-listers. So, I think this is probably them trying to consolidate or reformat the what do they call it? Arrowverse now. It's CW DC verse or whatever. That's probably the way to go, is to try to make Superman now the flagship show or the flagship character. I think The Flash will last a few more seasons, but again, you have to start looking at that because they've been going on for what? What is it? This is going to be their 7th season, I think. I think they've been going for 6 seasons. It's still the best show of all the CW shows. I know people don't like the CW shows, and that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't, I wouldn't really stick up for them too strongly, but The Flash is probably the best of those shows, and I think they still are moderately entertaining. The Flash as of now, moderately being the key word. Batwoman aired a new season beginning for that character, which is now a new character because Ruby Rose left the show last season, and now we are going to be introduced to a whole new Batwoman. And, from what I hear, the ratings are not very good, but I heard that for the original Batwoman show with Ruby Rose, and it turned out that, I don't know if it was true or not, but the show got another season, so I don't know. I mean, you hear these things about the ratings being down. I don't know if that means anything, because CW, you don't need big ratings. You don't. You just need adequate ratings, and you can be on for 10 years. So that might not mean anything. So I will endeavor to try to check out that Batwoman season premiere, if nothing else. I said last year, Batwoman surprised me, as I thought it was going to be unwatchable. And it was nothing special, to be sure, but I did like the character of Alice. And I thought that actress, Rachel Scarsden, I believe, I thought she was very good, very captivating actress. And, hopefully they'll do something with that character and maybe make her more interesting in order to keep viewers watching. All right, let me take a look here. Let's see what Mr. Whiteglove says. Fantastic Four, Doom, Silver Surfer will be the next big build-up, like Avengers, I think, and maybe Submariner. Yeah, that's true. We forget about that, but they do have a lot of characters now in their roster that they can pull on because the acquisition with Fox. They have the acquisition now where, yeah, I think also I heard, again, I'm not sure, I don't think this is confirmed by any means, but I've heard that Daredevil, of course, is now in their domain, and that they're looking at the next Spider-Man movie to possibly spin off Daredevil in the MCU. Again, this is all hearsay, this is all rumor, so to speak, so I wouldn't get too excited, but supposedly Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil in the Netflix show, is going to be in the Spider-Man 3 movie, and I'm hearing conflicting things that it might not be Charlie Cox's Daredevil. They might recast the character for the MCU, but Daredevil is certainly on the table. He's an A-lister, at least in my book. We've got Fantastic Four, of course. The X-Men are still very viable because now Disney, the MCU, own the characters. So I'm sure they're going to try to be doing something with them. A lot of people are saying the Fantastic Four might get introduced in Black Panther 2 because, for two reasons. Of course, Black Panther was introduced in the pages of Fantastic Four, and also because, of course, they need to shore up some support for Black Panther 2. I don't know if a lot of people are going to go see it without Chadwick Boseman, and from what I understand, they're not really even going to, they're not going to try to do a CG character version of Chadwick Boseman and sort of hand the mantle. They're just going to say that he died in between movies or something. So there may be life in the old boy after all, right? The MCU might not be done yet, but like I said, they really need to shore up some of those characters that they've got on the shelf right now and get them going. All right, so thank you for everyone who has joined us this evening on an impromptu stream. I try to do art streams once in a while. I try to do them on Wednesday usually because Saturday, as I always say, Saturday is the day that I do my my pop culture show where we talk about things like this, about comics and so forth. If you have any suggestions about something we could talk about, leave it in the comments below if you're watching this after the fact, or if you catch us when we're doing a live stream. Comments are always open. The chat is always open. Like I said, when I'm doing a drawing stream, though, or an art stream, so to speak, we don't see the comments until I'm through with the page. So let's take a look at this cover once again. We're showing the cover for the first time, the reveal of Temptation Eyes, which is going to be the next issue in the Bullets Bourbon saga. That should be out and available probably, I would say May, but again, that's being probably a little optimistic, but hopefully the issue will be out by then. I want to thank Splash Page Comics. Mr. White Gloves, thank you for joining us in the chat. Always welcome to partake in the show whenever you show up. We're always glad to see you. And check out Mr. White Gloves' channel, Splash Page Comics. I got to check that out. I don't know if he's had a new video lately, but check it out. I always check it out whenever I see a new video on my feed. And of course, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out our website, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Comics, in the description below. As I said, you can find me on Twitter, Gab, and the link's not there yet, but I'm looking into Minds. If you're into that, maybe you'll find me there. And so there you have it. So until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.